obviously we need to slow it down. So we're going to play a ballad, and I want to tell you a bit about the background. This is one of the first tunes that our father wrote. It was on his way home from World War II, and he was of that greatest generation. He was in General Patton's army, and lucky for him, some very weird things happened in his life that turned out for the best in the European theater, as they say. But it is a theatrical life when you get away from all the things that could happen to you and what did. You see, Dave was in Patton's army, and they weren't part of the D-Day invasion, but they were part of the Battle of the Bulge, and they were all being moved up front to face the last gasps of the panzer divisions of the German army to beat back the Allied forces after the D-Day landing a few weeks. And Dave was at the supply depot where there were about 10,000 troops and supplies getting ready for the frontal assault that was coming. And someone up high in the army said, well, let's do these young lads a favor and give them a concert before they go off to face the German tanks. And so Dave was sitting on his helmet in the mud along with the other 9,000 guys, and the USO truck pulls up, and the side of the truck comes down, and there's an instant stage with stakes, and these three ladies get out, sort of like, I call them wannabe Andrews sisters. And the first thing they say is, we've lost our piano player. Does anyone play piano? And some of the soldiers in Patton's army knew that Dave, they never heard him play, but they heard him talk about how he played. And so they nudged him and pushed him, and they got him up on stage. And he had no music and no rehearsal, and he played his ass off. And luckily for him, there was a colonel in the Jeep that saw this go down, and he told his assistant, go down there and get that young private up here. And he said, I'm going to give you special orders. A guy with your talent should be out entertaining the troops, not, one more rifle against the tanks. He says, I want you to go out and find me wounded, Purple Heart warriors that are also musicians and put a band together. That's quite a Venn diagram of people to find. But he did find some people, and it was interesting because they're so far away from Washington at that point, who gives a hell what the rules are? And so he started the first integrated band in the Army services under that. So he was so happy when he got through that whole thing, which on the upside, by the time that we were just mopping up, the USO sent literally the entire Rockette squad from Radio City Music Hall over to Europe to join Dave's touring group that was now expanded to an orchestra. And I always laugh thinking about what a Marx Brothers movie that must have been. I did run into one very much older, but still fabulously legged Rockette, who was 92, who was getting a special award at Radio City Music Hall. And she told me that she knew my father when they were together on that tour. And she said, don't worry, your father was a good boy. And a heck of a truck driver, too, she had. But anyhow, at the end of the war, he was so happy to get back to our mom. He wrote this beautiful ballad we'd like to play for you. And it's called Weep No More.